On this computer. There it is. I got it. All right. I've never done Zoom meetings before. So typically I have people come on to the channel and we just kind of do a live hangout. So this is my first like official legit.
Really? Where are you? Where are you located?
I am in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had to turn off my air conditioning for this interview. So I hope I
Oh,
don't
dude.
sweat to death.
Absolute respect. And if you got to turn it on, that's okay. You
It's
sound
my
great.
bad. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, okay. We're ready to start or you
Yeah,
ready?
whenever you wish.
All right, man. Well, as I said, like, welcome to Sinister Cinema here. Typically, we're just a real laid back channel. We just kind of hang out, talk horror movies, as you can see by the wall here. We're fans of the genre, to say the least. And I've had a lot of cool people on the channel over the years, but legit, this isn't just me kissing ass. When I got the email that I had a chance to talk to you, I was over the moon because I'm
Hey,
like a legit fanboy of you and Pat. So I'm like
you.
super honored right now to have you on the channel. Legit.
You are wearing a Saw 6
Goddamn right.
full t-shirt, man.
I
Like, thank
dressed up for you, man.
you. Wow. Well, God bless you. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I'm a huge Saw fanboy. So when I saw your name, I was like, okay, no matter what, I gotta get this guy on the channel. Saw 6 is my favorite Saw film.
Hey,
Uh,
very
Followed by Saw 4. So huge
wow.
fan.
All right.
And yeah. So anyway, let's talk about hashtag AMFAD, shall we?
Yes, please.
All
All
right.
my friends are dead.
So for anyone who doesn't know Marcus's work, you should. Shame on you. Marcus is behind. You are part of a duo, typically with Patrick Melton.
Absolutely, yes. Grateful.
And you guys first got on the scene because of Project Greenlight, which is very exciting. I'm a huge fan of the Feast trilogy, and I do not think it gets the respect that it deserves.
Oh, thank you. Do you know that was 20 years ago, 2004, when the Willy Wonka moment happened for Patrick and I. And Patrick and I, we were both from Illinois. He Evanston, myself Macomb. We both ended up at the University of Iowa, and both ended up in the same ramshackle Hollywood apartment building. And he had a computer, this DOS computer that would overheat. So every 20 minutes we'd have to turn it off because we could type faster than it could process. And what we elected to collaborate on over a Halloween weekend was what would become Feast.
Yeah.
And I remember we gave each other a page to put a quote on, and he picked a Nietzsche quote. He who has a why to live can bear with any how. I had the next page. If you want blood, you got it. AC/DC. And in that, I think like it's that's been the conversation where Patrick studied. He was a reader for ICM, digesting nearly 1,500, 2,000 screenplays where they pay $50 a pop for breakdowns, reviews, etc. of that material. And his natural gift for just understanding, dissecting structure was wonderful. I did my education at Blockbuster Video and the
Hell
movie
yeah.
theater,
Hell yeah.
where I took advantage of what I could, the 5 free rentals a week, and watched everything and appreciated that cool opening act twist in The Hitcher too. And then one day I was asked, as I was restocking the previous Project Greenlights, in comes somebody handing out screening passes for what would be a sneak peek of, I believe, the Battle of Shaker Heights in the theater out of Topanga Canyon. And then, wouldn't you know, Patrick calls and says his wife even heard over the radio that there would be a season 3 and that they would be open to doing something outside of the coming of age story, that they may pick another genre, be a comedy, horror, whatnot. So, holy cow, that's when those pages came into play, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you guys got the call to get onto Saw. I mean, how the hell did that happen?
So, man, I mean, really, I would say, thank goodness we were prepared for luck. And there is something where I think Project Greenlight was a lot of luck, but that was, you could hear the metal legs of the chair being slid out at the adult table. We were guests at the adult table. And I credit Patrick for this being like, well, I know we worked hard to get to this moment. We have to work twice as hard to stick around. And so within the 6 weeks of Feast having a premiere at the Palms, courtesy, a wonderful premiere, courtesy of the Maloof brothers, courtesy of Sean Decker, we were on the cover of Fangoria that month. And at the wrap party, sold an original screenplay, The Neighbor, to Dimension. And I had to pitch an alternate ending during that party, which was a joy too. And so then that was happening. And at the same time, James and Lee were not going to be a part of what would be Saw 4. And there was this tiny window open. And so we had written, courtesy again of Melton's Drive and whatnot, really like, we got to keep going. We'd written something called The Midnight Man, which became The Collector, but had some DNA fingerprints of what Saw was doing with intensity, with some things that were like traps, etc. And so that opened that door for that possibility. And then when we went in, there were three different, a team, another person, and us were all hired to write something called Saw 4. And the one story that I think was so fun was the other two people were given the Bible of what to do and what not to do. We didn't get it. And it wasn't, it just, for whatever reason, we just didn't get it. We didn't get that email. So wouldn't you know, ours ended up getting picked, I think, because it broke rules, not because it stuck to them.
Oh,
and then it was like, oh, and it was just this one idea that maybe wouldn't have gotten through, that kind of was a linchpin moment. And so when we went in, we didn't just pitch 4, we pitched a 4, 5, 6. And we were always thinking like, go, 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 push, push, push. So it's, wouldn't you know, and then it's 20 years later. And we're with hashtag AMFAD, all my friends are dead, where first time writers, Josh Sims and Jessica Sarah Flom.
Yeah.
This draft. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, huh. And I remember John Gulager.
Yeah.
Feast. And we were two first time writers handing over what we wanted to DJ, what we wanted to AC/DC. And we say, can you rock and roll this? And he was like, I'm going to protect this script. And he did. And so now with Josh and Jessica, I was like, my gosh, I feel like I'm eavesdropping on your characters. I think I recognize them. My gosh, I didn't see that twist coming. Holy cow, it's got a heart. This is terrifying. I'm jumping into the deep end, and I'm going to see if I can protect your screenplay.
Yeah.
And that felt awesome.
And this is, I mean, there were so many things you said there I could jump off of, from the Saw stuff, from the Feast stuff. It's hard to keep it all straight there. But, since we are here to talk about All My Friends Are Dead, not to be confused with the Polish Netflix film or the Turbo Negro song.
Well, hence the hashtag AMFAD. Like, so it kind of, the nice thing about that potential wound, the way that we made it a weapon, was there is a social media element to it. So yeah, hashtag AMFAD, all my friends are dead. Sure. And it was fun. So like our thank goodness our trailer was able to get inspired from it, and even the poster, it kind of has a nice punch mark because of that.
Right.
So we thought like, well, maybe it's not a hashtag, it's a slash tag, because we're a murder mystery.
Well, there you go. That works. So I now, going back really quick to what you had said, when you said you wrote what became The Collector with Midnight Man, is that what you said?
It was called The Midnight Man. Yes.
Midnight Man. Now, there were rumors at one point that was originally a like Saw prequel. That's not true then.
It is not. No, that's one of those that like, hey, if the myth makes sense, cool. But what it was for a hot second was a potential to be rewritten into that mythos.
Okay,
so
that makes
sense. Existed as its own thing. It's like, hey, man, because the character of John Kramer had unalived at the end of 3. Well, maybe you could do it if it was a prequel or something like that, But what it provided was an awareness that we were thinking in that headspace and could audition to participate in furthering the story, and that was fun.
Yeah, because I always, like years ago, I had pitched this idea that the collector was an apprentice of John Kramer. And to see a movie with them together got people really excited. And so, like, when I saw that that was supposedly a prequel, it kind of all made sense in my head. Like, oh, okay. You know, obviously I would link them because you guys worked on both, but I was like, this does feel so similar. And I always thought that would have been really cool. Now, when when you were writing Saw 4, you had already pitched through 6, and obviously you ended up making 7 as well. You had you structured all that together. I would assume you had to have because of like stuff you set up for later.
Yes, there were certain things down to minutia, being the clicking of Agent Strom's pen. That was seeded in just a couple of little moments of 4, so it becomes a key moment at the beginning of 5, where he has no gun, he has no badge, he has no phone, he has
Right.
his pen,
That's
he
bad.
has a way to live. Yes,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
that I kind of like that. Uh, Wanted to see people brutally save themselves as much as a device might brutally destroy.
Yeah, and and you know, to add on to the Saw thing really quick, I just think that the twist in 4 is so underrated because it's so like genius that I don't think anyone like when honestly, I will admit the first time I saw it, I did not understand it at first. And I was like, what the fuck? And like I left the theater disappointed. And then I came out of it and I was like thinking about it more and I was like, wait a minute. And then I thought about it more and I was like, you know, that's pretty fucking badass because you guys were tasked with something was like, hey, the main character's dead. You know, your main antagonist is dead. Like, here, write more. And you're like, oh shit, what do we do? You know, and then making it run alongside of the third film and tying it in expertly throughout and giving these little subtle hints of like, you know, someone was abducted from the hospital, you know, Lynn's character and all that stuff. It's like, oh, I love it so much now. I'm actually mad at myself for not being more in love with it when I saw it. But anyway, I'm just a Saw fanboy here to gush. And, you know, I've been following your career this whole time with, you know, The
Thank you.
Neighbor. I was glad you shouted that out. And,
You. I'm very
uh,
grateful. Yes.
you know, Into the Dark episode, Pilgrim and Unhuman, and you know, I've been here from the beginning, and I'll follow your career till the bitter end. So, uh, I am sorry, I'm gushing a bit, but
No, 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 no worries, Jason. Thank you. Goodness gracious. Well, I would not even be a part of All My Friends Are Dead if it hadn't been for Kevin Greuter. So Kevin was originally the director on this.
thank you for finally telling me how to say his name.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got it.
Never
Uh,
do. I never
yeah,
do.
yeah, there it is. And so his obligations to Saw X, then that happened, and Saw 10, and so there was this production was still coming together, and gratefully he threw my name into the hat, and I auditioned, and then the rest is twistery as we are here, which is awesome. So like it all. I mean, bless his heart, man. That's just awesome. And then hey, we were fortunate to collaborate with him on the forthcoming 11.
I was gonna say, so I had heard rumors that you were working on 11. Is that true?
Yep, working on it.
Okay, so you are writing.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Thank the Lord for that. You guys are my favorite writers and Saw.
Oh, thank you.
My I think peak Saw is Saw 4 through 5 or 4 through 6. So to have you guys back is a godsend to the franchise. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you.
I
Thank you
can't
very
wait
much.
to see Saw X 111. Anyway, so all my friends are dead. So of course I think a lot of attention is going to be brought to this film because you have quite a large name attached to this in one Jojo Siwa.
Yes.
My, you know, I have 11-year-old daughters and they were fans of hers when they were younger. And how did that all happen? You know,
That is courtesy directly of Jessica Schwartz. Jessica Schwartz is an executive at Roundtable. Roundtable is John Baldecki and Sarah Donnelly, and Jessica had the concept of like, can we go for JoJo, and made everything happen. So like I know from idea of like yeah to JoJo arriving, everything in between there. is such a carefully managed, how do you get the talent to arrive and get through teams and whatnot. And that was such a wonderful moment of voltage, because our lead actor, Jade Pettijohn, who's in her early 20s here and yet has 15 years experience, had worked with JoJo on School of Rock, the TV show. So
Yeah.
those absolutely resumed a rhythm, resumed a chemistry, and was just marvelous, like, to watch that happen. And so I only knew of one version of JoJo that maybe some social media or some history or video clips or a montage might hint at. But what this movie reveals, All My Friends Are Dead, shows that JoJo Siwa is an absolutely terrific actor, somebody that can represent the heart, the through line of a narrative. She plays a character, Colette, that haunts, that has so many critical footholds throughout the stepping of this. And in Josh Sims and Jessica Seraflom's screenplay, there was a lot to protect there, and I just wanted a chance to protect that heart, to deliver a reckoning of a twist, and then a twist after that, and a twist after that. Please, anybody watching, stay through the credits, because we don't stop entertaining. We've got more twists than a pretzel until the lights come up. We are going for it. And it was such a joy to see this alchemy, be it JoJo, Jade. We have a marvelous cast from top to bottom. If I may want to run down the list of Cardi Wong, Justin Derrickson, Fiona O'Higgins. We've got Jennifer Enns. We've got Jack Dope Smith. We've got Julian Haig, Ali Fumiko Whitney. And I had a couple of ringers. A couple of ringers that I'd worked with before. The Pilgrim himself, Peter Giles, who shows up as Slick Rick. And I love that man. He's so nice, and I love making him, tricking him, forcing him to say offensive things. It's so great to write this character, and he brings it to life. He's like, oh, okay. And then Michaela Russell, who also wore the hat of producing all 33 of our original tracks, co-writing and whatnot, and even the song in the trailer. So if you want to know what we're up to with this movie, please watch the trailer. Check it out, because we wanted to make sure that everybody knew going into this that we are going to take big swings with blending different tones. There will be humor, there will be horror, and we might just surprise you with some heart. And that really was what we were going for. So this one, we wanted to be loud and stand out amongst all the other spectacular entertainment this summer. And the fact that we're being so fortunate to play in theaters, that's a huge deal. We're in an era where you can make a great movie and the studio is just like, delete, sorry, we need the write-off. Or you can spend 140 million bucks with your Oscar nominee and they're like, yeah, let's just put this on your phone. And then there's us,
Yeah.
this little movie that I finished with my iPhone in the living room over here. And
Yeah.
we get to paint the silver screen red August 2nd. And it will be on demand, so you can watch it however you wish. But I love that we had hope for that. And it's great to see that hope realized. So all of it comes down to now, Jason, the story's up to you. You must share the word and get the word out, so everyone in your listening supersonic galaxy may come and give us a chance to thrill.
I have my quest. Yeah, and it's pretty wild that you're you've been in this for 20 years now, and this is the first time you've worked, with something that isn't your own writing, because
Well, Pilgrim, I didn't write Pilgrim. That was Noah Feinberg. And
on
yeah.
IMDb it has you and Patrick as the writers.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Well, I got to give credit to Noah. He wrote that draft, and we did some rewriting. We adapted it, I guess, to our resources. And then Unhuman was also an adaptation, but I believe we ended up being the credited writers on that. But that also was something that was recalibrated in going forward. And then, but the one thing which was really cool, and it just simply hasn't come out just yet, is a version of Feeding Time, which was our Jack in the Box short form, where it was part of a writer's room. And that was really cool to have all the different ideas, everything come forth. And that was an awesome collaboration. So I liked that, Patrick and I, hopefully, just like John Gulager did for us in Feast, if we can see something and just help protect it. And if anything, help maybe adapt it to the resources and the schedule available, and then maybe encourage and bring about this cast to bring it to life. it's a wonderful feeling.
Well, Marcus, I appreciate your time and coming on, man. I would love to speak to you again in the future, maybe on like a Saw podcast or something. Shout out to my buddy Chris, who runs a Saw podcast. He'd love to have you on one day, I'm sure.
Right on, sure.
And shout out to that Big Trouble in Little China shirt behind you, because that
Yep,
thing rules.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all the reflexes.
And shout out to my favorite Saw trap in the entire franchise, the Shotgun Carousel. Thank you for creating that. And thank you for being you, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, man. It's so good meeting you. And,
oh, bless you. Thank you. And turn on the air. I don't want you to swelter.
I won't, man. I look forward to Saw 11 and everyone. When can we look forward to All My Friends Are Dead?
August 2nd, we will be in theaters and on demand.
Perfect. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. And enjoy it. All right, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
That's so cool. Thank you, man. Jeez. That was great.
Have you got many fanboys on here? Gushing over your previous work?
No. I mean, it's been nice to. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I tend to get so like introvert, nervous around such things. Like, oh, really? Great. So today I'm here to talk about, and it's kind of an
influence. Me.
I hope. Man, yeah, it's neat. You know what occurred to me during this one at a really odd time is you find yourself leaning forward so much, like keep going. And on this one at one point, I was like, wait a minute, you know what got me through today? Experience. And then I looked back for just a second, I was like, whoa, 20 years. Yeah. Wow. Like I didn't necessarily need all the whiz-bangery of like all these big effects. I was back, I was in my basement and it was a Coke bottle and the right idea and the right angle. And that was neat. Like all the 50-cent tricks could save the day just as admirably as the awesome pricey special effect digitally. And that was cool. So I was like, and it was neat to also see the first time writers. I stood in the back of the theater and I watched their silhouettes as I remember the feeling when John Gulager took these words and gave them life and dimension. And then I was like, wow. So yeah, there's been some stops along the way here that have been like soul photo moments. That's been really that's just been wonderful. I've been grateful for that. That's a gift.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hold you up, man. I know you got other stops to make along the way, but I really do appreciate your time, and I really do appreciate the countless hours of entertainment you've brought into my life. So thank you.
Thank you. Bless you, man. Absolutely, anytime and all the time.
All right, buddy. You have a good one, and enjoy the rest of your interviews.
Will do. Take care, sir.
All right, buddy. Bye.
That was great.